Yay, vagina! Yay, vagina!
I mean, if I get to see Anna de Armas's vagina in detail, I may give it a standing ovation in my living room. Let's be real. Unless there's something really bad going on there. I don't know. This week's news bits. Those little stories that don't quite deserve their own full-on story, but we still don't want to forget about them. We want to talk about them. Some juicy little things. And starting that off, speaking of Blonde, and this is a similar thing that we reported on a couple of weeks ago, but it just kind of furthers it. And this really isn't a story. It's just something I thought, really, this is what they're taking this shit serious. So Anna de Armas, who is playing Marilyn Monroe in the new Blonde film, coming either this week or next week, and the crew of Blonde apparently made a card, and all of them or a lot of them put some stuff on a giant card, filled it out, asking Marilyn Monroe's permission to make Blonde and set it upon her grave. So they're going in there. I think a couple of weeks ago we reported that they felt the spirit of Norma Jean there on set with them. Anna de Armas had been touched by something. And now apparently she's conjuring the dead by leaving them birthday cards or something, giant cards on her grave to add. What? This is just PR, like promotional shit. Why are they doing this? I mean, I appreciate them trying to say, oh, it's like what do they call it? Like respect, being respectful and all this and that. I just feel like all this ghost talk and this is just a bunch of PR speak. I mean, is it just me? Am I an insensitive bastard? Is that what it is? I mean, I know that, but is that what's going on here?
I don't know what's going on. I heard this movie's terrible. Two, I don't know if they're smoking way too much weed or crack or heroin or what they're doing in the world, but that's like me going, I'm gonna put my dong on, the grave of like, I don't know, some famous porn star or something like that, and she talked to me, so now I'm gonna be in porn. It's like, why? Like, I hate when you read this shit and you just realize that Hollywood is just that more fucked up than even you want to realize sometimes. Oh, we put birthday cards on her grave.
This is what's news now, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the supernatural, like real life supernatural stuff, I've never really been into it anyway. I just kind of don't put a lot of stock in it. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, this isn't them being like respectful and all that. Nothing against them. I don't think it was malicious, but it's just them trying to like drum up PR. But you said something that caught my interest. You heard that the movie's not good? Because I mean, I know it was getting like standing ovations at they all do over at like Venice Film Festival or whatever. But is it you hear it's early things are saying it's not good?
I mean, clearly they were really enraptured by that POV vagina shot, so that's probably why I got, standing ovation. Like, yay, vagina, yay, vagina.
I mean, if I get to see Anna de Armas's vagina in detail, I may give it a standing ovation in my living room. Let's be real. Unless there's something really bad going on there. I don't know.
Right. No, I've talked to some people who've seen it. One person said it was all right, but mostly people say it's overlong, pretentious, a piece of junk. It's her. I know I joke about POV, vagina shots or like that. And I think Ana de Armas is a very gorgeous woman, but apparently she's like naked through 90% or like 50% of the movie or something like that. I'm like, that's cool, but like at some point you gotta tell a story. Like
I did hear that. Cool. I heard like after the halfway through the movie, she's just topless the whole time. And I'm like,
yeah, and it apparently gets really boring. So
we'll see.
I know. I'm saying from a perspective of like.
Yeah, stories.
He's more focused on that than he is. This is like, Showgirls or something like that.
Showgirls. It's got its pluses and minuses, but yeah, I could see some of that stuff just from what I've heard about them or what I've seen about the movie. Is like I've seen its runtime. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah,
or just about 3 hours long, and I'm like, wow, that's really fucking long. But we'll see either this week or next week when I see Blonde, and I'm sure Nick will as well, and we'll see if it's is it any good? And do the drapes? What is it they say? Does the carpet match the drapes?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll see if that's the case with Blonde. Anyway, moving on. Let's go on to our next little news bit, and that is that RRR or RRR or triple R or I can't remember what it stands for. I actually do know but I can't remember what the 3R stand for. You know, that Indian movie that everybody's been talking about that's just crazy, over the top, insane. It's taking the world by storm, and it has been extremely popular. It's done well in theaters abroad and as well as over here in the States with a re-release, and it's been a runaway hit on Netflix. Everybody's talking about it, but now apparently it has been snubbed for the Oscars, or at least for the best international film or picture or whatever. Now, on a side note, it can still be nominated for some other things such as actor, actresses, all the other individual Oscars, just not best international film. And I guess that means it can win best film because Parasite did. But my whole point to talking about this is, I know last time we talked about it, you had not seen, I'm going to just call it Triple R. You have not seen Triple R, right? Or he's not all the way through.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have, and it is. It's a cool movie. It's fun. I really enjoyed it. I wish I had done a review, but by the time I saw it, it had already been out for a while, and I was like, oh, there's no point. But then everybody started talking about it again. I was like, wow, missed the boat there. But it was a fun movie. I really did enjoy it, but it's not a fucking Oscar-winning movie.
Can I say this real quick?
Sure.
You know what's funny about this movie? It's not like this is the first movie in it from India or wherever it's from to be this crazy and over the top. What is it about this movie? Is it because he punches a tiger or something like that, or he fights a tiger? I mean,
well, this one is, because I've seen lots of Bollywood and Hollywood movies. This one is, I'm not going to say the most over the top. It is that right mix. What I got from it was that it was that right mix of over the top Bollywood and Hollywood type flick, but grounded enough to be like more approachable by Western audiences, because some of their movies are so fucking out there that I think a lot of Western audiences are just like, I can't, you know, they can't get on with it. And this one has that something that makes it a little bit more approachable for people. That's why I think it's blown up the way that it has. But I mean, all that aside, and I'm not saying it's a bad movie, because it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it, and I like those kinds of movies, but it was a fun movie. But it's not, and I'm not putting the Oscars up on some pedestal, but the movies that they do give awards to, I'm taking, you know, that's their criteria. This is not it. It would not have won anyway. It's not Oscar nominated. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it gets nominated for an Oscar. Look at Endgame. Endgame was really popular. The Spider-Man, what was it, No Way Home? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody was talking, it should get nominated for... No, it shouldn't. There was nothing in No Way Home or Endgame that was... I mean, besides moments, were you going to nominate a moment? But I mean, there's no performances... Not saying any of them are bad, but there's no performances in those movies, or this one, Triple R, that are above and beyond anything else that you see on other things. They're not bad, but they're not great. They're not what the Oscars consider, you know, to be those great movies.
And on top of that, people have moved on to the next movie in the Tollywood or Bollywood, whatever you want to call it, series, with this new movie that's already out in Cinemark. It's like something part 1 or something like that. So it's like people move past. Yeah, people move past this like quickly. So and I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. And people are saying, well, it could still win actor and all that. No, it's not. And that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
It's a movie of the summer type of situation.
Yeah,
so.
It's not a bad movie, but it's not the type of movie that the Oscars go for. Now, that does not mean I'm putting the Oscars up on some pedestal saying that it's not Oscar. No, it's just not the type of movie they go for. I mean, granted, I wouldn't have thought Lord of the Rings Return of the King was either, but this is no Return of the King either. But still, this movie was not ever going to get nominated, so I don't even see why. This is almost a non-story, but people have been talking about it, so I thought I would. So let us know in the comments below what you thought, if you've seen Triple R, and if you think that it should have gotten an Oscar. I mean, me myself still love the movie, but no, I don't. It's not an Oscar material. Now, what is Oscar material is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. If that movie's not nominated for something this year, I will probably I'll have some strong words to say to the Academy, which I do every year because I think it's kind of a joke over there. But that has nothing to do with this. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, apparently this year, is going to be everywhere this Halloween. Have you heard about this, Nick?
I have not. Is someone dressing like the Michelle Yeoh?
Oh, not just her. Apparently, there are a slew of Everything Everywhere All at Once costumes coming for Halloween. Like, it is said to be one of the big costumes this year. You got the hot dog hands. You got the red vest thing that she wears. Because they said there's so many different costumes in this movie that they're putting out all these costumes for the movie. And I'm like, I love that movie. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was fantastic and everybody should see it. But I don't see that as being the next Halloween
Dude,
costume.
Triv says in the chat, it's going to be at the Pleasure Emporium. Only one costume will be there, and it's a certain trophy, butt plug. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a certain trophy.
I don't know if that's going to be one of the costumes. They didn't show a picture of that. They did show some of the other pictures. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe. That'd be great. I mean, I've seen worse. When I say worse, I mean more mature costumes. That's for sure. But had one time. But yeah, if you like dressing up for Halloween, adult or child, just know that coming this Halloween next month, there's going to be a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everywhere for Halloween. You can get your hot dog fingers. I saw the hand. They've got these hands you put on, and they've all got the long hot dog fingers. And because it showed that one, it showed Michelle Yeoh's like vest or Marty McFly vest, and there was another one like an evening gown or something. I think one of her characters wore. I think the actress. So yeah, if you're a big, huge fan of Everything Everywhere All at Once, get ready this Halloween because you can cosplay as characters from that movie if that's your thing. I don't think this is going to be as big as they were saying in these news articles. So, I mean, like, I love the movie, but I don't think its costumes were Halloween material. I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 2 months I'll be like, I was totally wrong. It took the world by storm. It was the fucking Tickle Me Elmo of Halloween 2022. Doubt it. But either way, check out Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is an awesome movie. Okay, speaking of Halloween and movies that are coming out around Halloween and Halloween themed, even though Everything Everywhere All at Once is not, Hocus Pocus 2 is coming next month. Or is it this month? I think it's the end of this month, actually, is when it comes out. But it's coming soon. And the creator of Hocus Pocus, and of course Hocus Pocus 2, has gone on the record saying that he wants to make a Buffy-like spin-off series of Hocus Pocus. The way that he explained it was that he wanted to have a series that, like, I don't really know why he likened this to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, really. It's just any kind of show like that, where all the people in Salem, all that history back there with, like, the sisters. I'm not a huge Hocus Pocus. My knowledge there is limited. I'm not a huge fan of that movie, but I do know that they come from Salem, they're witches, and there was a bunch of other, I guess, graves in the movie or something. He said we could tell the story of all those characters in a series, and he wants to make that happen. And if this movie is successful on Disney Plus, which it's coming to Disney Plus, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We'll just say yes. Yeah.
If that movie is successful, you best believe you're going to get a Hocus Pocus show. Whether it'll be Buffy inspired or not, I don't know, but we're going to get one. But he wants to tell it. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on Buffy are. Once again, I don't see what the fuck this has to do with Buffy the Vampire Slayer besides there being some supernatural elements. What do you, what's your take on this, Nick? You looking forward to this?
I watched the first episode of Buffy for the first time ever, I think a month ago. And it's definitely of its time, but it seemed interesting. I don't care about Hocus Pocus. I could care less about Hocus Pocus Part 2. I hope it burns on a fire or pyre or whatever. And doing a TV show is not going to make me want to watch Hocus Pocus anymore. Hocus Pocus is the dredge of Halloween. I'll say
Holy
it right
shit.
now.
I did not think that was going to go there. I figured you were going to say you were a Hocus Pocus fan and you liked it. I just assumed. Because you're the Disney fan here.
As Trish says, Hocus Pocus for Kife. I don't know if she's being a little racist there or what. Oh, no, she says life. Sure. I think Halloween is a very interesting holiday because there's some really good Halloween films, and there's some Halloween films that people talk about that for some reason they enjoy that are not good. And Hocus Pocus is one of those. I'm sorry, but it's one of those, like, how did it become popular? I don't know.
I'm with you there. Surprising. I figured I'd be the hater here. I don't hate the movie. It just.
Oh, I do.
I can't really say that I've seen it all the way through before, like in one sitting. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know enough about it. I'm not a fan of what I've seen. I'm not a fan of the movie. It's just not for me. I was probably, it came out in 1996. I was 17 when it came out. I was not the demographic for it. So I didn't grow up with it. Like my wife, she's younger than me. She loves the movie. It's her thing. I own it for her. She's looking forward to the second one. I'm just like, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if there's a show. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I did not watch when it first came out. I liked the movie. I saw the movie in theaters when it first came out. But the show, I didn't watch until years later. I binged it when it was on Netflix. That actually was a fun show. I mean, it is, like as you said, very much a product of its time. But it was a fun show. I enjoyed the show. I see why Joss Whedon, he was thought of so highly for so long. It's an entertaining show. It went on a little bit too long, but it was a fun show.
Yeah. That's what I hear. I hear it's really good. Yeah.
What Hocus Pocus and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, even things he was saying, have to do with each other besides supernatural elements. I mean, he's talking. It's almost like he was saying like a Monster of the Week thing. I was like, that's not exclusive to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but
yeah,
whatever.
You can say supernatural in that. It's yeah.
But either way, if you are a fan of Hocus Pocus, which I know there are many of you out there, and the new movie is coming, and if it is successful, which it doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm the wrong one to be judging it, but it doesn't look good to me. But the first one didn't, so I'm not the person to listen to. I'll probably do a review of it because I know I'll have to watch it when it comes out. But just take what I say with a grain of salt, honestly. But if you are a fan of it, part 2 is coming here within a month, and if it is successful, then you got more Hocus Pocus goodness coming your way in the form of Buffy the Vampire Slayer-like series, possibly. I would put money on it if the movie is successful, because Disney money, we'll go that way. All right, almost done with our news bits this week, but this one I found pretty interesting. I want to get your take on it. Avatar, as we spoke about a minute ago, is coming back to theaters this Friday, for a limited 2-week engagement, as they're calling it. So it will be out in theaters for 14 days, approximately 2 weeks. And they're saying it's already the highest grossing film of all time. It was for years and years. Endgame came along and dethroned it for like a couple of months, and then they released Avatar in theaters in China as a limited thing for like a week, and it took it back.
Yeah.
And not only did it took it back a lot. It's way ahead, because they've re-released Endgame since then too, and it didn't. No, actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. That's how they passed it, because they re-released Endgame, I think, with like some Hulk footage or some shit like that. Wasn't that what they did? Because they re-released, because it couldn't quite pass
Avenger.
Avatar.
Yeah.
It was the like after the credits thing with Stan Lee tribute and some like bunk ass Hulk footage. There was nothing else in the movie.
Yeah, it was on YouTube before. And
it just barely overtook Avatar by like a
so stupid,
next to nothing amount. And they like were celebrating. Oh, we're so great. They came out with Avatar in China, and like within a day it was already ahead of it, and then it kept on going. So it's already way on there. It's back as number 1. Chances of a movie reaching the $2.8 billion that it's at now are unlikely altogether. However, now they're re-releasing it, as I said, again here in the U.S., right before the new movie comes out. Yeah. And people are saying, will this be the first movie to hit $3 billion? And I'll give you some stats. But before I do, they're also saying if it does hit $3 billion, chances are it will be the only movie to hit $3 billion for a long time, until inflation gets to the point to where hitting $3 billion doesn't really mean anything. Like, it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter at this point. They made that, money gets so high, which is $3 billion. I mean, it's a ways off before we get there, but $3 billion does sound like a lot of money, and can it make it? Well, right now, currently, it is sitting at $2,847,397,339. I said dollars too many times, but you get the point. Approximately $2.85 billion. So it's not really that far off. What it needs to hit that $3 billion threshold would be $152,602,661. So $152.5 million. It's a lot of money for me, but in the movie world, for a big movie, $152 million isn't really that much. What do you think? Do you think Avatar could? What do you think the likelihood of it making 152 plus $1 million in 2 weeks is?
Never gonna happen. No, I mean, it would have to be the next, like, if we were making 152 million in 2 weeks, it would be the biggest news story of the year, past Top Gun. Like, Top Gun Maverick is the movie news story of the year just because of how big it became. If the Avatar were to make 152 million dollars on reissue, that would be some of the most impressive things. I mean, I'm not discounting James Cameron in his Avatars because, you know, he makes a lot of money, obviously, because he went when the studio was like, I was watching, I can't remember what I was watching or reading, but they actually went to James Cameron and told him he was crazy for making Titanic, or either Titanic or Avatar. That he was crazy for making one of them. Actually, I think it was Avatar. And he pointed to Titanic and he said, "Remember how much the movie Titanic made? Yeah, I'm gonna go work on Avatar, and you guys are gonna make money. So shut the fuck up." And yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, you know, if it were making 152 million dollars, I wouldn't be surprised. But at a reissue, that's, you know, not even Star Wars made 152 million dollars on its reissue in '97. So I don't see this happening with Avatar. Would it be possible? Anything's possible with the inflation being as high as it is right now, the ticket prices. But I don't, honestly, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, Jacob, I don't think Avatar 2 is gonna be Top Gun this year. That's just my opinion. I'm talking about domestic. I'm not talking about
really
foreign. Foreign, it may make more than Top
foreign.
Gun.
It
I don't
will.
think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's good.
I mean, unless it's just an absolute shit show, which I don't. Even if it is, it'll still make money.
Dude, I went to see Jaws in 3D, which was amazing, by the way. And they had the Avatar trailer. And even if the movie's not great and it rips off Ferngully again, there is no denying how good that movie's going to look on a technical and visual and just kind of creative level. Because there's nobody like James Cameron outside of maybe, I don't know, Christopher Nolan working today that does what he does. Even maybe not even Christopher Nolan does what James Cameron is capable of doing. So at least we got that going for it.
Yeah, well, I just looked here, and I don't have every bit of the information in front of me, but I was just curious. It's re-released in China.
Yeah.
Which was during the pandemic, by the way. So it was actually, the movie has been cited as spurring the Chinese film industry back to life. Right. But its re-release in China it looks like, I don't know if this number I have here, this is from less than a week. I don't know if it was out for less than a week or if that's just what this is the first number that popped up. That's what I'm going with. It made $40 million, but that is less than a week.
Yeah.
And that's in China in the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, but they have a billion of people, though.
Well, yeah, they do have billions of people, but they're also in the middle of I mean, that was further.
Yeah.
The people were not getting out as much then. It was what spurred people to get back out. I don't know, man. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm totally surprised didn't make $152 million. Because $152 million, while it's not a lot of not a lot of money for a new movie coming out. There's movies that make that in their opening weekend, but most movies don't. Now, in a full theatrical run, that's like weeks and weeks and weeks. Like if this was going to be out for like 2 months, maybe.
Yeah,
it might. But 2 weeks, $152 million. That's approximately what? $10 million a day. It would have to make
like that.
10 point something million dollars a day for 2 weeks straight. Now, I mean, if they really drum it up as like a big event, and I know they are with like the IMAX and all that, who knows? I mean, $10 million a day doesn't sound too crazy, but then you got to account for Tuesdays and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't necessarily think 100% it will, but if it does, I would not be totally surprised. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't be. I think it'd be kind of crazy if it did. What's going to happen is it's going to get to 2,999,999,100, or you know, it'll be like one ticket away from it. That's what it'll be.
And that ticket will be not by James Cameron.
Yeah.
He's the one that held out. He's like, I didn't want $3 billion.
But either way, let us know below what you guys think. Do you think Avatar is going to break that elusive $3 billion mark? And also, what they're saying is if it does, nothing probably ever will again. for at least a really long time. I mean, it took a long time for anything to come close to it from its 2009 release. So, and then it just came out and said, hold my beer, and like got it right back. So within a day. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure that the second one is going to be a big success. Will it be that much of a success? I don't know, but I'm sure it'll still be a big, huge success, make them plenty of money. I am really interested if it'll overtake Top Gun, like you say, because Top Gun has been a runaway success. Well, overall, I think it will. Here in the U.S., you got a point. I mean, the U.S. #1 is still Star Wars Force Awakens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Domestic.
Like $900 million or some insane amount of money.
Yeah. Force Awakens is still the domestic #1 box office movie, so we'll see. We'll find out here. It comes out Friday, so in 2 weeks we'll know for sure if it hits that, or before we'll know if it hits 2 billion or 3 billion, and I'm sure we'll talk about it here if it does. So I hope it does. I really like that movie, and I hope it. I hate how people. Clearly, I'm not the only person that liked it. A lot of people like that movie. Like the vast majority of people really like that movie. But then you have people talking shit about it all the time, like all kinds of shit. I'm like, you hypocritical motherfucker. You went and saw it multiple times, you bitch. I mean, the movie's got its issues like any other movie, but it is still a really fun movie, and James Cameron knows what the fuck he's doing. But we'll see. We'll come back to this within the next 2 weeks to see if it actually hits that $3 billion mark. All right, last little story for today's little news bits, and that is that Shine. Have you heard of Shine? Do you even know what I'm talking
Jeffrey
about?
Rush movie?
No.
Oh. No, I guess I haven't.
Shine will shine no more. What the fuck is Shine? Well, Shine was going to be the prequel to The Shining, and it was going to be made by Nick Flanagan? Was that his name? Flanagan.
Oh, the guy who did the second. Yeah, Mike Flanagan who did the second
Mike Flanagan.
movie.
The guy who made Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, which is fucking fantastic, by the way.
It is. It's a I like the Doctor Sleep book more than I do the Shining book. And I've read both of them, read lots of Stephen King. I also like the movie more than the Shining movie. Say what you will. That's my opinion. I respect The Shining for what it is, and I enjoy it, but I like the book better than the movie, too.
Exactly.
But either way, it's a fantastic book, fantastic movie. A great adaptation. I'm not in love with what they did with the end of Dr. Sleep in the movie theater, or in the movie version, but I understand why they did it. I don't want to say why if you haven't read the books, but if you've read the book and you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Big, huge difference. But anyway, still a great movie. Well, when Flanagan was making that film, he had this other, at least idea, of a prequel to The Shining that would have been about the Dick Halloran character. And it would have, I guess, shown his time before The Shining and how he would shine. And it was pretty much a go, because I think they expected Dr. Sleep to be a much bigger success. But since Dr. Sleep was considered to not be much of a success, it didn't make nearly as much money as they wanted it to. Some would say close to a flop. Not a total flop. I think it barely made it didn't even quite break even. And because of that, they have officially put the kibosh on it and said it's not going to happen. Flanagan has gone online and on record saying that it will be the biggest. The fact that he doesn't get to make that movie is like one of the biggest regrets he'll ever have. And he'll regret it for the rest of his life or something like that. So,
it's crazy to me.
Yeah, he flat out cited it is because Dr. Sleep was not as successful as they wanted it to be.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
I think Mike Flanagan is one of the best horror directors working today. I think his TV shows on Netflix, including the one that's coming out, which I think is called The Midnight Club or something like that. They just put a trailer out. Looks great. But yeah, it's the unfortunate nature of, like, I remember when I saw Dr. Sleep in the theaters, and I was like, this is amazing. I put in the chat that one of my favorite scenes of all time is in that movie. But as you can see, when it played in theaters, it made like $20 million or something like that. So I don't know.
I think it ended up making about $75 million or something like that, and it cost $50. Which you're like, oh well, that's more. Well, you typically got to double your budget to break even, so it didn't even quite break even. I don't know all the financials about it, but it was not successful within the studio's eyes. And some people could say, bad studio, that's fucked up. I mean, I get it. I mean, they don't want to put money. I want to see this movie too. Don't get me wrong. And it's
Yeah.
also, this would be an original. This would not be based. I mean, it's based, but it wouldn't have a book to go off of. This would be all his thing. So it will be a totally original story, not something based on King's work. I mean, it's loosely based on it, of course, but not based on one of his books. I think it would have been interesting, and I'm with you. I think Mike Flanagan is a fantastic director. Oculus had no right.
Yeah.
Any movie that starts with
no.
WWE Productions has no right to be that good. As soon as I saw that, when I turned that movie on years ago, I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, but no, that was a great movie. All of his movies have been very good.
Yeah.
But it's sad that we're not going to see this, but I also, as much as we like to shit all over the studios, I get why they don't want to invest millions and millions of dollars on something that they look at and they're like, we're not going to get any type of return on this. Why would we do this? I mean, they are in the business of making
Netflix.
money.
Yeah, Netflix. He's doing, like, they're doing Netflix Stephen King movies. Might as well put it on Netflix. Netflix will pay for it.
And you know,
Well, maybe not.
I don't know. Maybe it's a ownership thing, rights and stuff like that. But who knows? I mean, maybe one day this story will come. If he actually has a screenplay and all that, I don't know. They didn't get into that. But maybe one day that will come out. But it ain't gonna be today, and it ain't gonna be anytime soon. So shines no more, unfortunately. If you loved The Shining and Dr. Sleep, probably not gonna get any more. But you know what? Some of you might say that's the way Stephen King intended it, because there aren't any more Shining stories that he's written, so that's how it should be. I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. That is that on News Bits this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think about Ana de Armas asking Marilyn Monroe for her permission. Triple R being snubbed for the Oscars. Everything Everywhere All at Once being everywhere this Halloween. Are you going to get your hot dog fingers? Hocus Pocus wants to go the way of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Will Avatar hit $3 bajillion? And Shine not ever hitting theaters ever, ever, ever. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of that, or if there's any other small little stories that we missed this week.